So the Toronto Raptors need to make a decision. Now, it's a weird one because they're still a very good team, don't get me wrong, and not many people want to see them, especially in the first round of the playoffs. However, are they even going to make the playoffs at this rate? They're currently sitting in the 11th seed in the Eastern Conference with a record of 16 and 20, and I believe they're around 10 games back from the first seed. Now, I feel like this is a very critical year for the Raptors because it's kind of like, where do we go from here? Last season, they had a tough loss in the first round to the Sixers, and I believe they lost in 6. Very well fought, hard fought series, and you're thinking, okay, cool. Second year Scotty Barnes, the addition of Otto Porter Jr. Let's see how far this team can go, and also Pascal Siakam further elevating himself into superstardom. However, some of those things have happened. Pascal's elevated his game even more. Even though Otto Porter's only played 5 games, he's basically not been part of the team, but he's still been there, and nothing really's changed. Like, I've seen a few silly reports like, oh, the Raptors should trade OG Anunoby. Of course they shouldn't. However, there are 2 players that they may need to look at moving or potentially just surveying the market for. These guys are Gary Trent Jr. and Fred VanVleet. Now, why do I say this? Hear me out. So first of all, you've got Siakam coming up for an extension, and do I believe he's going to walk in free agency in 2024? No, I don't even believe he'll get to free agency because there's no way the Raptors don't offer him the Supermax extension, and there's no way Pascal turns that kind of money down. Next, you've got Gary Trent Jr., who's going to be a free agent after this season. Now, he's someone who is a decent defender, very pesky in passing lanes and very active with his hands, and is a very, very good shooter, very streaky, but still a good shooter, and that's the type of player you want on your team. So he has a player option for this season for about $18 million, and there's a 50-50 chance he may opt out. So do you want to move him now, or do you want to take that risk in free agency? Because with the way the team's going, you can't just run it back every single season. Something has to change. So Gary Trent should be someone they should look into potentially moving. I love Gary Trent, by the way. He's been playing very well this season. I believe he had a 35-point night the other day. But it's one of them ones where you've got to look at your roster, his contractual situation. You've got to think what will be the best for the Raptors moving forward. And Fred VanVleet, who's been struggling from 3 and the field, he's been absolutely clanking a lot of his shots recently. And don't get me wrong, Fred's still a very good playmaker, but he's someone who you could potentially look into moving, in my opinion. I forgot to even mention that Precious Achiuwa has been injured too, so the team is definitely banged up. They've had a lot of injuries. You've had a mixture of guys missing time, important players, but you've got to look and kind of think, where do we want to go? Do we want to be a team that stagnates and kind of banks on Scotty Barnes getting better, Pascal Siakam continuing to get better, and OG Anunoby continuing to get better? Or do we need to add another guy? Now, I believe the Raptors should be actively interested if another superstar asks out, but it's one of those ones where I don't see that happening anytime soon. You've heard rumbles of potentially Trae Young wanting out, but that's kind of like a very distant, nowhere close to fruition type rumor. So it will be interesting to see what they do. Now, the Raptors are still a very good team, don't get me wrong. I wouldn't want to see them in the first round of the playoffs if I was another team. However, I do feel like they should be active in looking at moves to put more pieces around Pascal and their core in Toronto. So that's all I really got for this video right here. Nothing set in stone, just my opinions on what I've seen. Let me know what you guys thought in the comment section down below. Thank you for listening, and I'm out. Peace.